Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about solving multi-step equations. So there are 4 basic steps when you solve any equations. So step 1, you want to distribute. Step 2, after you distribute, you want to combine like terms. And then you want to either add or subtract to move terms around. So you need to move x to one side of the equation and everything else to the other side. And then step 4, you either solve for x by multiplying or dividing for the most part. So let's do some practice problems so y'all can see how these steps are applied. Alright, so we have 3x minus 4, parentheses, 2x plus 3 equals negative 3x plus 8. So if it helps, draw a line down the middle so that way you separate the left side from the right side. So the first thing you want to do is if there's anything outside the parentheses, or if there's any parentheses, you want to distribute so that way you can get rid of parentheses. So in this case, you have a negative 4 that's right outside the parentheses. So you want to take that negative 4, multiply it into both terms on the inside. So we're going to distribute it into the 2x as well as the 3. So negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x. Negative 4 times 3 is a negative 12. So we don't have any more parentheses, so what we're going to do, we're going to bring down everything that we haven't touched. So we'll take down the 3x, the negative 3x, and plus 8 comes down. Alright, so that takes care of step 1. You don't have any more parentheses, you got rid of them by distributing. Step 2, you want to combine like terms. So you're going to look on each side one at a time and see if there's anything in common that you can put together. So on the left side of the equation, see how you have a 3x and a minus 8x? They both have x's, so what you can do to make it a little bit simpler is to combine them. So 3 minus 8 is going to be a negative 5x. That negative 12 right here just comes down. There's nothing to combine with that. Alright, so now we're going to move to the right side of the equation. Negative 3x plus 8, there's nothing in common. There's no multiple terms with x. There's no multiple constant terms. So we're going to take those, bring it down. Alright, so when you get to this section, you want to either add or subtract to move terms from one side to the other. So the first thing you do is you choose what side you want letters to be on, and the other side is going to be everything else. So I'm going to choose x to be on the left side. I'm going to choose, in this case, numbers to be on the right side. So we're going to go through each term and analyze it to see whether they belong or whether we have to move them. So the first term you have is negative 5x. So it's on the correct side because it has an x, and we chose x to be on the left side. The next term is negative 12. Negative 12 does not have an x, so that tells you it needs to get moved over to the opposite side where the numbers are. So if you want to cancel out a negative 12, you would have to go do the opposite of that, which is to add 12. You're trying to zero it out. So you're going to add 12 to both sides of the equation. So you have to make sure that the 12 gets put underneath the 8, not the 3x. 12 does not have an x, so you cannot put it with the x. It has to be with the number term. So now we're going to go through and combine them. Negative 5x comes down, negative 3x comes down, and 8 plus 12 is 20. Alright, so now let's move over to this right side. This negative 3x needs to be over on the opposite side where the x's are. So if you want to cancel out a negative 3x, you would have to do the opposite, which is to add 3x. So plus 3x on both sides. So make sure when you write it on both sides of your blue line, both sides of the equation. So negative 5 plus 3 is a negative 2. You got your x still, equals, on the other side, 20. So 20 is in the right spot because it's on the side where all your numbers are. You don't want any letters over here, which it doesn't have. So at this point, we're going to go through on step 4. Solve for x. So usually it's either multiply or divide. In this case, the opposite of multiplication, so you have negative 2 times x. The opposite of multiplication is division. So you divide both sides by negative 2. So you're going to have x equals negative 10. Alright, so let's try this next one. 2 parentheses 3x minus 5 equals 7 parentheses 4x minus 8 minus 3. So the first step is to distribute. So on the left side of the equation, we have a 2 that needs to be multiplied inside with the 3x as well as the negative 5. So 3 times 2 is 6, you got your x, and 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. On the right side of the equation, you have the 7 that's outside the parentheses. You have to multiply it inwards into the 4x and the minus 8. So 7 times 4 is a positive 28x, and then 7 times negative 8 is a negative 56. We're going to bring down our minus 3. All right, so now step 2. After we get rid of the parentheses, we want to go through, simplify it, so that means combine like terms. So this time on the right side, there is this negative 56 and a negative 3 that you can put together. So those are both constants. Combine them and you get negative 59. The 28x comes down because you can't combine it with anything. On the other side, there's nothing to combine either, so you're just going to bring it down. All right, so again, when you get this far, step 3, you need to choose a side for your x and a side for everything else. So I'm going to choose x to be on the left side, numbers to be on the right. So it doesn't matter what side you choose x to be on. If you choose x to be on the right side, your work is going to be a little bit different down here, but at the very end, it's still going to be the same answer. All right, so since I chose x to be on the left side, you got to go through with each term and analyze it. So 6x, that's correct, it's on the right side, or it's on the correct side. Negative 10, that doesn't have an x, so it needs to get moved over to the right side of the equation. So to cancel out a negative 10, the opposite of that would be to add 10. You're trying to zero it out. Negative 10 plus 10 is 0. On the right side, you got to put plus 10, but underneath the negative 59. 6x comes down, equals 28x. And then negative 59 plus 10 is going to be a negative 49. So now we got this 28x that's on the right side. We need to move it to the left side where all the x's belong. So to cancel out a positive 28x, we have to subtract 28x. So write it on both sides of the equation. 6x minus 28x is going to be a negative 22x. Bring down your equal sign. Negative 49 comes down. All right, so now once everything's organized, you have all your x's on the left side. You got all the stuff without the x on the right side. We want to go through, divide by negative 22. So the opposite of multiplication is to divide, is division. So we're going to divide by negative 22 on both sides of the equation, and we get our answer as being x equals 49 over 22. All right, so make sure when you divide, you only put the number, you don't put the letter. You're only dividing by 22 to cancel it out. So negative 22 divided by negative 22 is positive 1. So we have our 1x equals negative 49 divided by negative 22. Negative divided by negative is positive, so that's why down here it's positive 49 over 22. All right, so we're going to do 2 more examples. So let's say we got 3x minus 4 minus 6x equals 17. Line down the equal sign. So with this one, there's no parentheses, so that means you skip the distribution step. So now you're on the step where you combine like terms. So on the left side, there are 2 things that are in common. You have 2 things with x's. You got a 3x and a negative 6x. So you got to combine those. So 3 minus 6 is negative 3. You got your x. So 3x minus 6x is negative 3x. Then you're going to bring down your minus 4 equals 17. Bring that down. So from here, choose the side for your x. I'm going to choose the left side. And the side for your numbers. I'm going to choose the right side. This negative 3x is in the right spot because it has an x. This negative 4 is not in the correct spot. It needs to get moved over to the opposite side, to the right side of the equation. So to cancel out a negative 4, to zero it out, you're going to add 4. Make sure you write it on both sides. So 17 plus 4 is 21. And then finally, to get rid of this negative 3 that's being multiplied with x, you're trying to make that become 1x. So you're going to divide it by negative 3. So 21 divided by negative 3 is negative 7. And the last one. All right, so we got negative 2 parentheses 2x minus 5 close parentheses equals 6x minus 3 plus 5x plus 17. So again, line down the equal sign. So you want to distribute first. So in front of the parentheses, you have this negative 2. So you want to take that, multiply it inside the parentheses. Negative 2 times 3x, and then negative 2 times negative 5. So you would get negative 6x and a positive 10. So make sure you have the correct sign. Negative 2 times negative 5 is a positive 10. On the right side, there's nothing to distribute, so we're just going to bring it down for now. All right, so from this step, we need to go through and combine like terms. So on the right side, there are two things to combine. There are these x's that you can put together, so 6x plus 5x. That gets you an 11x. All right, so you got to look at the sign. It tells you what to do. So it's a positive 6x and a positive 5x. Put those together, you get a positive 11x. And you also have coefficients that you can put together. So you got negative 3 and a positive 17. Combine that and you get a positive 14. On the left side, there's nothing to put together. There's nothing that's similar, so we're going to bring it down. From here, we need to choose a side for your letters. I'm going to choose the left side, and a side for our numbers. I'm going to choose the right side. So this negative 6x has an x, so it's in the correct spot. This 10 does not have an x, so it needs to be put over on the opposite side of the equation, so we need to zero it out. So we have to go through, subtract 10 on both sides. So negative 6x comes down. 10 minus 10 is 0, so you don't need to put anything there. 11x comes down. And then we have 14 minus 10, that'll be a positive 4. All right, so then we'll look at this 11x. It's not on the correct side. It needs to be put on the left side where all the x's are. So we cancel out 11x by subtracting 11x. So we put negative 11x on both sides. So that gets you negative 17x equals 4. And then finally, the last step, once you get everything organized into its correct spot, you want to go through, this is being multiplied, so to cancel out multiplication, you divide. So divide both sides by negative 17. And then our answer is x equals negative 4 over 17. So it doesn't matter where you put the negative sign. As long as it's there, it makes the whole entire fraction negative. All right, hope that helps. I'll see y'all next time.